My name is Sebastian Columbine, and I would make the perfect scream queen because I think that I'm a major fan of horror. Like, this goes beyond. I went through this extensively in my application to you guys, but for me, this goes beyond, like, just casually watching the movies. I have been obsessed with horror for pretty much my entire life. I see every movie as it comes out, every horror movie that comes out, and I've done this since I was about 16 years old, even when I was like sneaking into horror movies. I am currently a film student, and I make horror movies, and the most recent one I made was considered the best one of the semester and one of the best ones ever created in the entry-level class. So it's more than just like a character, and it's more than just kind of like a trope of being a scream queen. It's something that is like a part of who I am. You know, I like being spooky. I like doing things that are related to horror. I love watching horror, critiquing horror. Like, it's more to me than just like an act or just like a thing that I would do for a weekend. Like, this would be like an unbelievable opportunity. And I think that we've gotten past a scream queen being just like a pretty face who can scream well. I think that they are somebody who's strong and smart and interesting, as well as somebody who's pretty and can scream. And I think that that's taken a while of us to develop too, but I think that I am that kind of person. I think that I fit that well. I could never like play or be somebody who just, you know, runs through the woods and trips over air and you know, screams over nothing. It's kind of like, I feel like that I am the face of like what the new scream queen is for the current horror genre.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Congrats on making such a good movie. What was the movie that you made? What was it about?
It was about a guy who he like grew up on a farm, and he sees the homeless as like animals. And so this sounds so tacky when I explain it. So he starts to kill the homeless, and he eats some of them and feeds the rest. His kind of like cover is somebody who works at one of those homeless shelters that like gives out food, and so he kills some of them and eats some and then feeds them to like the other ones. And then it's particularly about him and a homeless man who pretty much figures out what's going on, and they have a confrontation, and they like fight to the death. He ends up killing the homeless man, and he continues on, but that's like what it was about. It was about cannibalism. Yeah. It was, I don't know. It was a lot better than it probably sounds. It probably sounds tacky.
No, it sounds really creative and different.
Yeah, it came out like really well, in my opinion. Like, we were really excited about it. So.
That's awesome. How long have you been watching horror movies?
My whole life. I can remember like the exact time it started. I used to be like a scaredy cat when I was a kid. Like, everything just scared me. And then when I was like 10 or younger, my dad was like, "Do you want to watch Saw?" And I was like, being a scaredy cat, like now if I watch that, I'm like, you know, that's nothing. But it scared me so bad I didn't sleep for 3 days. I was so afraid. And then after that, it was kind of like this like sick like rush where I was like, I kind of want to feel like that again. And then that's kind of how it started. So I started to watch like any movie that I could find, any movie on Netflix, any movie on TV. Like, I watched it because I was just like, I want to recreate that. And I've felt that before, and it was sort of like this really interesting, it became more of like less of like a thrill thing and more of like wow, there's like so much to this, and there's so much artistry to it, and it became so much more than that. But it was probably around when I was like 10, and that was like the incident that kind of snowballed everything into now.
Do you have a favorite scary movie?
The Human Centipede.
Why?
For a while, I was kind of disappointed in like all the remakes and everything. Like, everything's just being remade, and nothing was kind of coming out that was like all that creative or like different. It was kind of like either the same thing over and over again, just slightly different, or just remakes. And then I started seeing like the symbol everywhere, like the diagram of the human centipede. I started seeing it online, and I didn't know what it was. And then a friend like told me that it was considered one of like the crappiest horror movies to ever exist, and I was like, well, I want to watch it. And I saw it, and I was like, this is just like, I've never seen anything like this before. I've never thought of anything like this. This is so interesting and so creative and so different that I became like obsessed with it. And I wrote like a 7-page paper for like a film class on it. I got an A. I actually today I did a monologue I did for the Human Centipede. I did one of the monologues for that. I could do that, but I messed up quite a bit today, so I don't know how awesome
Could you do like a piece of it, or like a little bit of it, like your favorite part of it, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, just 1 second though. Let me finish.
Okay.
And then what else? Oh, and then when the premiere of the third one came just like a couple months ago, I was like one of the first people to like get the ticket. And so I got like couch seating, and I got to be like in the very front, and I got to meet and like take pictures with like Tom Six and the guy who was like the main character, and like we all like got to hang out. And then so it was like really neat to like love this so much and just love the whole industry and be able to go to like my very first premiere. So now I have like the poster with it's like signed by everybody, and it's on my wall, and I'm hoping to kind of have that be like a consistent thing where I just have a wall of like a bunch of different like horror movies. But okay, so let me see if I can do this, because again, I'm not really like an actor. This is like my only first semester like acting class. I am Dr. Joseph Highterm, retired but still very well known as the leading surgeon in separating Siamese twins. 6 months ago, I designed a never-before-seen operation. Oh, crap. I already forgot it. I'm like so nervous.
It's okay. You don't have to do it.
Okay.
You don't have to.
It was like, she like kept stopping me and was like, try this and try that and like do this. So it was kind of like, I started to forget what I was doing, and I was more like trying to like act.
Yeah.
And then I forgot like half of it because I didn't need to say the whole thing.
I have a totally unrelated question. Can you tell me about your look and like where you? I like
how
makeup and what.
How it's like come about.
Yes.
It's kind of like started as like kind of like an 80s like goth and like death rock kind of look, like Susie and the Banshees kind of makeup, but like the straight makeup doesn't look good on me. I have too round of a face. So over the years I've just kind of like experimented with that, and I think that this has like been like the perfect look for me that like accentuates my eyes and like doesn't make my face look too round and things like that, but it's kind of like mostly inspired by like 80s goth, but then it's also like a tiny bit like BDSM and like a tiny bit like horror. Like the drag queen Sharon Needles was like my mom. I was just like, I love you so much because you look like me. You have the white hair and the gore and things like that. So that's kind of like where this whole thing has originated from, but this is how I look all the time. So.
That's awesome. You also have a YouTube channel?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
I started a few years ago as like just talking, like answering questions and talking about like nothing, and then it sort of like evolved into like I started spending a lot of money on equipment and stuff and makeup to like do makeup tutorials and to make like the production quality a lot better, because YouTube has gradually become a site that needs a lot of production value. So it's been like makeup tutorials and like vlogs. I take it around to the events that I go to, fashion, things like that. It's just kind of like centered around me and like the dark aesthetic and like the dark things that I like. So, yeah.
Cool.
And I think that's kind of part of like what inspired me to like for sure go into film.
That's awesome. So we do the eight films to die for. Let's do the 8 films to die for. So say 8 films to die for in theaters October 16th, and then do you have a scream that you can do?
Yes, I haven't done it in so long though. I used to do it at the park. And now I live in an apartment building, so I can't like just
Well, now you can do it. You can let it all out. It's been building up for so long. Okay, 8 films to die for.
It's like 8 films to die for.
In theaters October 16th.
In theaters October 16th.
Yep.
Okay. In the camera?
Yeah.
Okay. 8 Films to Die For in theaters October 16th. Should I not have closed my eyes? Is that okay?
That was good.
Oh,
That was
thanks.
great.